Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aloha Press Show. My name is JC out here in Atlanta, Georgia. Joined today by my co-host Jeff in beautiful Amateur City. What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, hey, it's a great day. Northern California weather. You can see this little skylight behind me. Got to play some golf. Got here in time to step on the show with you. Couldn't be any better.
That's absolutely beautiful, man. It's we got the Arnold Palmer recap show. I mean, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Bay Hill. It's in the books. Bryson DeChambeau walks away with the victory, and I am going to Vegas. I've decided. I don't know how I'm going to start gambling. I'm going to have to get a bookie, but I'm pretty much riding a high right now, picking Bryson DeChambeau for the victory.
Well, I feel like I'm a week late for you because I'm heading to Tahoe Saturday. And it's going to be obviously the players are already going to be underway. We're already going to be into the weekend, so I'm not going to be able to place any bets for you or myself. Hey, but you're pretty hot, dude, to pick two winners already in the first 3 months of the season I don't even think you got a top 10 last year.
I did not. It was last year's picks were more. 2021 was like the year of underdogs, which just doesn't happen. I mean, these guys are professionals, and like you saw this weekend. I mean, the guys who were on top, like Corey Connors, some of these other guys that were just names that we weren't very familiar with. And when it comes down to it on Sunday, you got to see this 2-horse race. I mean, a former number one with Lee Westwood, and then you got Bryson DeChambeau, and then they sprinkled in, Roy McIlroy and Jordan Spieth. But it's, I mean, you got to pick the big dogs this year. You can't go out there and hope that someone's going to roll the dice unless it's a Bermuda type week.
Well, hey, and I know I talked a lot of shit last week saying that I wasn't going to watch any golf and I was looking forward to the players, but I lied because I ended up watching a lot of golf this week, every single day, to the point where I actually recorded Sundays and came home and watched it without touching my phone. So I didn't know who won, didn't know what happened. And I watched the entire round of golf on Sunday. I was intrigued. The course was set up tough. It was set up difficult on the weekend. It dried out, and it got my attention because that's the type of golf I like. I like to see guys struggle to make birdies, make good pars, make 10, 15 footers for par to keep them in a round. And two guys on Sunday were able to do that. And it was Westwood and Bryson because everybody else kind of faded away.
It's crazy the difference between like when they've got ball. So for everyone that doesn't know that doesn't read the Golfing the newsletter, they had ball in hand because they had anticipation of rain on Saturday, and they got like a little drizzle. So these guys were playing pretty much lift, clean, and place on Saturday, and it's crazy how much that affects the actual scores of the game. And it just seemed like the golf course was set up for scoring. I mean, you had guys like Keegan Bradley going low. You had guys like Jordan Spieth put together a really good round, was making 40 footers all day long. And Sunday they set up that golf course more like a U.S. Open than a freaking typical PGA Tour event.
Well, and lift, clean, in place, playing the ball up is a humongous change for the pros. For guys like us, not so much. I mean, we end up giving ourselves too good a lies and hitting the ball high on the club face. It sometimes it doesn't work out. There's such thing as giving yourself too good of a lie, especially when you're not used to it. But for them, if they can give themselves ideal conditions, I mean, they're going to go from a 10-foot ring to probably a 5-foot ring on a lot of their shots. And it showed. You're right. But Sunday was tough. It was really tough out there.
It was, I don't want to say like it was a good golf tournament. It was fun to watch, but when everything was said and done, it just lacked some of the fireworks. It just seems like most of those guys, and I mean, even Rory McIlroy goes out there and shoots like a big number. Jordan Spieth doesn't play well. He goes out and shoots 75. Chris Kurtz shoots 74. Keegan Bradley shoots 78. He was in the second final group and was just absolutely struggling. He was making triple on 18. Paul Casey, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, both all shooting in the high 70s, and kind of shows like that golf course was pretty tough, and it kind of showed like distance definitely helped.
Well, and you had nobody chase from behind early, right? To create any type of drama. You had nobody post. I think the first couple numbers that were posted, that the lowest numbers were like 5 and 6, which were nowhere near what was going to be the winning score. And then the other thing is Lee Westwood, dude, that guy was started off hot. He stuck the ball on 1 and 2, missed both the putts. He had some makeable birdie putts to get ahead of Bryson, and he faltered. He didn't make those. He made a bogey here and there. And next thing you know, him and Bryson swapped places, and Bryson just kind of had to hang on. He never really had to turn it on. I mean, he shot 1 under. Kudos to him. He went under par, and he had when he had to. But yeah, the fireworks weren't there, but it was tough. It was fun to watch. I mean, the conditions For me, I loved it. I love watching that. I love seeing guys struggle. I love seeing them make long putts. And Bryson made a humongous putt for par, I think on 14. That just kind of that was the momentum that kept it going.
And you're absolutely right. And the cool thing about this particular week was you had what looked like more than 5,000 fans, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they promoted that there was going to be some fans there, and holy shit, like you had large crowds following, some of the final groups, and specifically like Jordan Spieth on Saturday. I mean, they had a big group following Bryson DeChambeau, cheering him on when he, apparently Bryson read the email newsletter and realized that I called him a giant puss, for not, going for the green 2 days in a row. But then Saturday, he steps up and acts like a freaking wild man on the tee box and hits it 370 yards into the rough and puts himself into, pretty cool position. And then on Sunday, does the same shit, but he missed the green both days on his second shot. He like he drives it to about 80 yards within the green and then misses twice. It just, I don't know. I thought it was kind of I thought it was cool, but not so cool.
Well, yeah, it was entertaining, but hey, the whole thing was we wanted him to drive the green. Everybody wanted to see him drive the ball on the green. It didn't happen. He hit some great shots. I mean, he was miles ahead of where everybody else was hitting it. But to touch on your point about fans, I agree with you. I think there was 5,000 fans per hole. At least it sounded like that. And that's probably part of the reason why I enjoyed watching it so much this week, because you heard guys screaming and yelling. You heard guys chirping at the fans or at the players. The players interacted back and forth with them. When good things happened, they freaking cheered. When guys didn't do so good, they booed at them. It was nice to feel that. It gave a little bit of energy and life to that tournament.
Well, yeah, and it kicked off Sunday. I'm watching the television coverage, and sure enough, Bryson is chirping at a guy, telling him, "Get him out of here!" Like, I would love to know the storyline behind that. Like, what was the conversation like to Bryson? Like, did you eat too many Cheetos? Or are you looking hefty? Like, what are the comments? I need to know. Like, that's what I love about fans. And there was an incident on Friday with your boy Bill Horschel talking shit to some fans, which is fucking awesome. This is what we missed, and it just seems like, a couple weeks ago at the U.S. Open, not a couple weeks ago, several months ago, you and I talked about we didn't think Bryson DeChambeau might be able to win on that larger stage with those fans chirping at him. And it was cool to see at least him get it done with a limited amount of fans while they were talking shit to him and even encouraging him. It seemed like, Saturday, Sunday, they encouraged him to at least try and bite off a little bit more of hole 6. That big par 5 that looked like a complete ocean to carry.
I feel like the fans can get into some of the players' heads. But with Bryson, I mean, yes, I think it affects him for like seconds and then it's gone because he's got so many things going on in his head when it comes to wind and calculations and percentages and yardages and the green read. Like, I think he can kind of just push it away like some of the other guys can't. But Billy Horschel, early in the week, that was fun because he talked some shit back to the guy, right? But it wasn't mean. It wasn't like he was angry at him or it was going to carry on. He gave him a little bit of something, and then they laughed about it, and it was on. And that's what we missed. That's what the fans bring. Yes, there's some that are obnoxious, and you really probably don't want them there. But the majority of them are good. They're loud. They're excited. And hey, keep the booze flowing, keep the masks off, and let these people freaking go cheer for them.
Because it makes a difference. Like, you could feel the energy, at the golf course. Like, you could see it. Like, as crazy and not a big fan of Bryson as I am, he brought the energy. I mean, shit, when he was yelling and screaming, like, that's fucking what we want. We want entertaining products. Like, if I want to go watch boring golf, I'll just go to my local muni and watch and chirp at the guys at the first tee. Like, that's the difference. It's like you get that energy level up and you get guys into positions where, they're having to make decisions and they're being influenced by the crowd. I mean, it's cool to see. And I thought it definitely brought a lot of energy to just the broadcast alone.
I don't know what the viewership ratings were this week, but I'm assuming because Bryson was in the top of it and he's probably the most popular guy in the sport right now, with Tiger Woods out. I assume it was pretty good. I really do. And he did some big things and some big moments. He took a couple questionable drops, but other than that, he did a good job.
Okay, let's get to the questionable drops because we're gonna get to another questionable incident earlier in the week. But I mean, Bryson DeChambeau is on the 15th green. It's him and Lee were battling pretty well, and Lee Westwood. I mean, God, he on that particular hole. I mean, it's a par 5. It's like 500 yards. They both, kind of chunk it down there. Bryson has, kind of lands into the face of the bunker and then has to chip up and lay up and then ends up, getting to a spot where his 50-degree wedge just didn't spin, kind of stuck near some sprinkler heads. But then you got Lee Westwood, who sitting at 158 yards from the green and just chunks his wedge. And it just was like, good God, what is going on? Bryson DeChambeau's drop. I mean, Jeff, it's somewhat near the sprinkler head. I mean, your thoughts on it? Because the way it played out, it looked rather questionable.
Well, I thought it was totally questionable. And then Peter Costas just verified my concerns, because Peter's like, there was nothing stance related. There was nothing club related. There was nothing related to that that should have got him a drop. That was Peter's honest assessment. He's there on the course with these guys. But Bryson's smart, man. He pulls the officials in more than anybody else. And most of the time he gets his way, whether it's ants, or something else that he's done in the past. But he was able to turn where his ball was at, which was probably a chip shot that would have been tougher down the hill. And he moved his ball, and he's got a putt, and all you got to do is 2-putt, and freaking Westwood, like you said, chunks it and doesn't get up and down. And that's a big momentum swing right there.
It was huge. And to get to that point, it's something that Bryson, the only problem I have with Bryson's ruling was he lied to the official. And again, you're right. The announcers said it, like his path or where he was going to aim and or stand was not affected by the sprinkler head. And all he wanted to do was put his stupid golf ball in his hand, clean it off, and be able to line it up like he did. The other issue I have with it is, okay, he bullies this rule official on national television. He's leading the golf tournament, bullies into letting him get a drop. But at the same time, he puts the golf ball in play and then fucking picks it up again and readjusts it to set up the line. Like that's not how golf is played. Like you and I in our local game would lose our fucking mind if we gave guys that many drops in a round. It just wouldn't happen.
He's just plain and simple. He's a freaking educated man, right? He's very smart. He's smarter than the rules officials. He's able to manipulate these guys, communicate to them in a way to where he gets his way. He really does. But he's always within the rules because they're the ones making the call. It's not like Patrick Reed where they're doing things that are, a little unnecessary. And then after the fact, they're called a cheater. Bryson's never called a cheater because, hey, the rules officials are making these calls. He just might talk him into it.
If Bryson DeChambeau wasn't a great golfer, you know what he'd be? He'd be a great used car salesman, okay? Or maybe a pimp, or maybe, I don't know, sell crack, because he's got one hell of a sales pitch for these guys. Like I need to take a lesson. Can Bryson DeChambeau like host a mastermind or some like webinar to teach me how to get better relief? Because it seems like he's always got one of those rules official in a cart riding around with him, making sure that he's okay with some of the drops and making sure that he's getting his way either with fucking fences, ants, drainage, fucking markers. It just cracks me up. But as these guys are wrapping up, the tournament, and Lee Westwood has an opportunity on the 18th hole to make birdie and get it, to get into a playoff and or have Bryson pretty much 3-putt. Lee Westwood shockingly drives it down the middle of the fairway, pretty much within line of Bryson DeChambeau, and it rolls into a fucking divot. Like Bryson can get relief from fucking sprinkler heads and he's able to line up his ball, but Lee Westwood fucking hits one down the middle, probably 340 yards, and he lands in a divot, Jeff. I mean, is unable to get up and down, essentially for birdie, and loses. I mean, your thoughts on the actual divot and the divot rule for the game of golf?
Honestly, that's one of the rules that I think needs to change. And obviously, they're going to have to word it specifically, whether it's a sand-filled divot or any type of divot, and in the fairway only. We don't need to kind of expand this to the secondary rough and the primary rough. Fairway only, because here's the thing: that's a tough driving hole. That's a tough hole. And he stepped up in a pressure situation after missing a makeable birdie putt a hole or two before, and pipes it, dude. He was only 10 yards behind Bryson. I mean, he hit a bomb, and then he's got to deal with that. Not that it was the hardest of divots to hit out of for him, but still, it's like I think that's kind of the one rule that maybe as we go forward in golf that we can make an adjustment to and give a guy a drop. You're in the fairway, give him a drop, no closer to the hole. next to the divot and let them play from the lie that they deserve.
Because secretly, yes, I might have picked Bryson DeChambeau to win this week, but when you see Lee Westwood at 48 years old, I mean, and the dude is like he's like the American dream. I know maybe not the American dream, maybe the London dream in the sense of he's got a gut. He's got his like fiance who's clearly 15 years younger than him. He's a big wine drinker. I mean, clearly does not give a shit. He's not even a member of the PGA Tour. He's a European Tour member, rocking the UPS logo to just give, the PGA Tour and the FedEx Cup just a big middle finger. I was rooting for him, and when the divot thing, it just kills me, and it really. I mean, he hit a great shot. I mean, quite honestly, I mean, hit it to like 70 feet and hit just in probably one of the worst putts of his life. He misread that thing by 10 yards. Or maybe not 10 yards, maybe 12 feet, but makes an incredible par. And Bryson actually jams one right by the hole and ends up, it kind of showed Bryson DeChambeau is definitely getting better as a putter because he was rather confident with his winning putt.
I was surprised that Bryson was as aggressive as he was on his putt. Because I mean, Lee, I don't know the 3-putt percentage, but he had a pretty good percentage of 3-putting that thing right there.
Yeah.
I figured Bryson was going to just cozy that thing down there, no doubter, not even think about making it. He tried to make it. He almost did. But yeah, he ran it past, and he had a pressure putt coming back, especially with the fans kind of chirping on him. And hey, he put it right in the middle, fucking done deal, another W, and he was excited. I felt good for him, but yeah, I was with you, man. Lee Westwood, old school guy. People are telling him to get ready for the senior tour. He's got his fiance on the back, girlfriend on the back, whatever she is. She has no clue about golf. You can tell she's not giving him a number. She's not giving him a read. He's out there by himself. He's out there by himself, and he fucking played solid. To finish where he did and to make the money he did this week. That was awesome.
And he's having a great 6 months. He's playing incredibly golf, and walks away with $1 million, second place finish. He's gonna get into he's gonna be able to play the Masters, get into all the major championships, which is gonna be cool. I don't know. I'm a fan, especially because he rocks the UPS logo, which just cracks me up because the PGA Tour, the announcers, they all just absolutely hate that he's involved in it. But wrapping up the Arnold Palmer, I mean, let's recap a couple things. I mean, Patrick Reed. I mean, back in the news. I mean, he's your pick this week. Goes out there and shoot. He barely misses the cut. He misses it by one shot. And then this video pops up. And you get a couple fans out there. And you get a couple guys video recording Patrick Reed and probably are riding him pretty good. And we got another video of him fiddle fucking around with the ball in the rough. What is he doing?
I don't know. You know what? He needs to hire some type of a management team to get in his head and let him understand that everything he does on the golf course, from the time he tees off to the time he putts in on 18, is going to be watched and scrutinized. I picked him to win. I like him now. He's a great golfer. He wins. He's a freaking kind of a dickhead. But I don't know what he was doing. I have no idea. What are you possibly doing in the grass behind your ball in the rough there? What are you picking out? Were there bugs? Were there acorns? What was it? I have no idea.
And the worst part about it is the golf in the video you could see is moving around in the fucking grass. What are you picking? Like, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand maybe if he fucking landed underneath a tree, maybe a fucking anthill, something that, would clearly be him actually moving, immovable objects or loose impediments around his golf ball. It's like, oh, okay, he's moving a couple sticks, maybe a pile of sand. But no, he's just digging around in the rough. And I don't know what he's doing. It just is another show that the PGA Tour needs to have a guy out there watching him on every single shot, on every single incident. Because if I were you, if I was me, had a wager on Patrick Reed or on a guy like someone else that he's competing with, these are the things that are going to affect fucking the odds, and it pisses, bettors off.
Well, I just really like, at least come out and tell me what were you doing? What were you moving? Pine needles? What was the reason for it? Because it didn't really look like whatever he was going to do was going to improve his lie or make the shot easier. I didn't think. I mean, he's in the rough. It is what it is. But he for some reason was just playing around in the rough. Nobody does that. Nobody wants to take the chance of moving their golf ball, except him, I guess. So
So I mean, another headline is Justin Rose. I mean, God, I mean, makes the cut, is playing pretty well. I mean, he's 5 under, and sure enough, goes out there on, I think it was on hole four, or no, on hole three. I can't remember which hole it was. Ends up making a nine, and he's playing with Jordan Spieth, and just says, I'm out of here. I'm gonna cite a little back injury, get prepared for the players. And then you got to watch him for the rest of the fucking weekend. Him on the stupid the MasterCard fucking commercial, eating ice cream. It just pisses me off. It's just, what are you fucking doing? It's driving me crazy. Like, cut his ass from the commercials. If you fucking WD on Saturday, make a guy like Jordan Spieth play by himself, and then I gotta see you and eat ice cream and bitch about your shitty putting. Like, oh, it gave me a brain freeze. Fuck off. Like, it just irritates me.
That's the exact thing I was thinking, because every time they went to playing through, it was him with the MasterCard commercial and eating ice cream with strawberry syrup on it or whatever it was. And it's like, all I did was hit fast forward, right? Because I recorded Sunday, so I didn't really have to watch it. But I fast forward, I'm like, yeah, dude, where did you go? First of all, I didn't even know he WD'd. I wasn't paying attention until somebody said something. I'm like, what happened to this guy? I'll give him this. He at least gave us a reason, right? He's back.
The back, yeah, the back looked stiff. I will give him that. He was not playing great. I mean, he's also playing with a guy who literally was 3 under. Jordan Spieth made birdie on one, hold out on two, made an ace, and then they both dump it in the water on three, and it's just
Hey, I'm gonna throw a shout out to a guy I played with today. All right, Taylor Parsons. Right, he about broke his ankle Saturday playing basketball over at the men's league here somewhere in Amador, Argonaut. Could barely walk till today. Found a way to tape it up, brace it up, have a couple double shots, and get out there and play. Shot 73 today with 1 foot. Right, for a no. This Monday skins game does not matter. Right,
I'm with you. I'm playing with a guy
1 foot.
I'm playing with a guy on Saturday, Josh. His buddy, one of our buddies, literally takes him out on the basketball court the night before. He is literally hunched over, walking around. He's taking Advil. He's fucking sucking down Bud Light Platinums, and he's just you can just see he's in pain. But he's like, I fucking said I'm playing golf today, so I'm playing golf. And sure enough, I'm sitting in the car with him. I'm like, oh, Justin Rose, WD is because his back injury after shooting a fucking 9. It just fucking drives me crazy.
No, it does. And it gets us every week. Somebody gets us every week because we want to hold these guys to a higher standard and think that they're, obviously they're greater golfers than us, but we want to think of them as above us too, as people and men. Well, God damn it. I just watched a guy. He freaking made it happen today. Okay. I felt bad. I felt like we needed the blue flag in the cart. Like I needed to drive him up to the green every time. And sometimes I forgot, had him walking through hills and shit. And I was like, oh God, I'm sorry. His ankle's the size of a fucking softball and he's out there playing golf. And he's playing well.
It just shows you how the PGA Tour players are absolutely not relatable at all. A couple other highlights, though. I mean, Bryson apparently is communicating with Tiger Woods via text message. I don't know if you saw these messages, but it's apparently he and him got on a phone call. Kind of cool, I guess. I mean, for Tiger Woods to reach out to him, and I don't know what the correlation is. I don't know what the motivation is. I don't know if Tiger sees a little bit himself in Bryson, but I thought it was kind of a cool story. At least Tiger Woods is paying attention and he's got his head wrapped around the actual, the event.
I think it's definitely cool Tiger's paying attention, and to text the guy, and tell him some words from Arnie, get him fired up, and he came through and he won. I don't think they're anything of the same mold, though, after I just got done watching Tiger's documentary on HBO Max. I understand Tiger a lot more after watching that. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
You need to watch it. I was a guy who thought I knew about Tiger, right? I've watched him my whole life, idolized him. He's the greatest golfer in the world. I learned a lot about him and his dad and his family and why he is the way he is. There's nothing like Bryson, I'll tell you that much.
No, Tiger Woods is a trained killer. Like, it is crazy. Tiger Woods' dad was absolutely he molded a fucking psychopath. Tiger Woods, to be quite honest, probably would have been better sought after. Like, yes, he's the greatest golfer of all times, but can you imagine Tiger Woods being like, he could have been like the greatest like sniper ever, or like could have done some things that maybe not made him famous.
Hey, I watched him run through these shoot houses with the SEALs, right? It reminded me a lot of a young Justin Cardinelli. Minus one thing, though. When you run out of bullets, you still got to be able to fight. And that's one thing you could do. I don't know about that, hand-to-hand combat. I'm not sure about him. But yeah, it reminded me a lot about you.
If you guys need knife work, let me know. It's got a history. It's other couple notables this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational is the sweater, Jeff. I mean, I get it. It's Arnold Palmer's event. They give away a sweater because Arnie wore it. At least they could do is get the sweater size right. I mean, you got Lee Westwood, Bryson DeChambeau, both big boys. I mean, these are hefty hitters. Lee Westwood, if he would have won the sweater, it'd have been fat guy in a little coat. Because I don't know what they're thinking. Like, I didn't know the cashmere could stretch that much.
This is where the PGA Tour needs to be more progressive. The Aloha Press Classic had a rope chain with a big medallion on it, right? I thought it might have been a title belt. That's what we're going to do probably next year one of these times. But we need to go away from the jackets, the sweaters, all these funky things, even the trophies. Find a way to make these things more unique. The only jacket that needs to remain is the one that you win at Augusta. That is the only one, and it stays there. You do your little tour because there ain't nobody putting on the red sweater or the plaid jacket and wearing it around any other time. I don't care about it. Give us something that's cool to win. Give me something freaking awesome.
I hate to say it, the only guys that's going to be rocking the sweater vest is fucking Bryson DeChambeau. If anyone's going to wear it out of the house, it's him. I guarantee it. He's going to show up to the Chili's on protein night. He's going to be rocking that fucking red sweater. I agree with you.
I feel like you should have to wear it the next year when you play. Like, if you want to be the champion and wear this sweater, you have to wear that in your first round.
I agree with you. It's because the trophies just are getting so bad. I mean, to touch on the LPGA Tour, I mean, you've got Austin Ernest winning the drive-on championship on Sunday. I mean, kicking the shit out of everyone, and they hand her a piece of glass with a bunch of Volvic golf balls in it. Like, I understand Volvic fucking was the the sponsor, but who the fuck wants a fucking thing of Volvic golf balls? You might as well give me a basket of range balls as a fucking trophy.
Those are range balls, pretty much. But I agree. I think we're progressing. Golf's getting cool again. Everybody loves it. Everybody's playing the game. Let's get some better trophies for these winners, whether it's belts, necklaces, watches, something like that they can wear, that they can keep with them, pass on to their kids. Nobody wants that shadow box in their room anymore with 18,000 trophies, unless it's a major championship. That's the only ones that matter.
I completely agree with you, Jeff. I mean, if you're going to give out a trophy, you either have to make it obnoxious where it's almost awkward, like it doesn't fit in your private jet flying home. Like, you either have to have it shipped, maybe via UPS, but it's got to be something unique. I would love to see maybe something alive, where you got to like show up next year with it, maybe like a bobcat or a fucking shark, or fucking, Orlando. I don't know, maybe a gator. Something kind of cool, something that's like, oh, where's your trophy? I fucking died because I flushed it down the toilet because the goldfish died. That's what I want. I want a live fucking trophy. That's probably inappropriate.
Hey, well, we just need to keep moving forward. We got to do it. They can take notes from us. I mean, Richter's, like you said, Richter with that chain on, and what's coming next year. Get ready. Who knows what's going to happen in Mexico?